Commissioner Mike Nunnery, would you lead us?
Sure.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Number 3 on the agenda is roll call. If you're present, please press forward, please.
Stephen Stokes, Marty Douglas, Rocky Preston, Gary Furr, Sonny Hall,
No, I'm going to press.
You're already on.
13 present, 5 absent. We have a quorum.
Number 1 on the agenda is the approval of our agenda. Need a motion. I have one by Commissioner Nunnery and a second by Commissioner Arnold.
Madam Chairman,
Yes.
I'd like to make a motion to amend the agenda to allow certain groups to speak, and you have the names.
Okay. I do have the names. They will be Buck Carter, Dr. Ken Berry, Michael White, and Ryan Hall.
I second the amendment.
Okay. We have a motion and a second to amend the agenda to allow these people to speak. Do we have any objections? No. It'll be a 2/3 vote. If you're in favor of amending the agenda, please vote.
Frank Lashley. Anyone wish to change their vote? 13, yes.
The amendment has carried. Now we will approve the agenda as it was just amended. So if you're for the agenda as it was amended, the board's open to vote. Okay. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Do I hear any opposed? There are none, so the agenda has been approved. So number 2 is the citizens forum. Buck Carter, would you please come forward?
I come here with a pretty heavy heart, guys. I've dedicated nearly 19 years of my life to this county and what I do. And I'm thinking it's time for me to step down and move aside. And my last day as a highway superintendent will be June the 30th. And that's giving you guys plenty of time to advertise and get someone qualified and get someone appointed and get them in here. But I'm very proud of what I've done for this county. I think I have done to the best of my ability. I've never asked for a penny, and I've always made it work. And I've done the best I know what to do with, and I'm very proud of being able to move the highway department out of that flood zone down there and move it up on the higher ground and not cost the county anything. We worked hard to do this stuff, but you guys need to know. And I want to come and address you myself. So.
You know there's a 4-year waiting period on that.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. But I've prayed about it. I've thought about it. We've had family meetings about it for the past 2 or 3 months. And I just think it's time for me to move on and go watch my little grandboys play baseball. I've missed a lot because I'm afraid to leave, afraid something will happen. I'm too dedicated, I know. But I think it's time to move on. And I appreciate working with each and every one of you. And I think it's been a good ride. We work good together. I've been through 4 mayors, and it's been good. It really has. And, but I appreciate each and every one of you. I just wanted you to know from me. Okay. Yes, sir.
I'd like to say something. It's been an honor working with you. You've done an excellent job. I just want to thank you from the bottom of my heart for what you've done for this county.
Thank you. Thank you.
I agree 100%.
Thank you, guys.
Dr. Ken Berry, come forward, please.
Madam Chairman, Commissioners, I'm Dr. Ken Berry. It's been a few years since I've been on this side of the bar. I loved my time as a county commissioner, and I come to you to talk with you this evening about an uncomfortable subject. You've been seeing for the past year and a half that one of your fellow commissioners has been absent from every meeting. From the 1st District, Stephen Stokes. Stephen has been accused of heinous acts. I don't know of the truth or falsity of any of that, but I do know that he hasn't been to a county commission meeting in over a year and a half. Is that correct, Wanda? Now, I've talked to several county commissioners, and they've said that they asked Stephen to resign, and evidently he's refusing to do that. And then the commissioner says, there's nothing we can do. We talked to CTAS, and we're stuck until the next election, and that's absolutely not true. Tennessee has an ouster law, and County Attorney James Melton may or may not be familiar with this. Since it's been a year and a half, I've come to doubt if any of you guys are familiar with that or not. And so all we have to do to get him out of that position is establish a record of absenteeism, which I'm sure Wanda has kept excellent records of, right? And then the county attorney files either with circuit or chancery court a petition, and Mr. Stokes can come and represent himself if he chooses. I would opine that the minute this is filed, Mr. Stokes will officially resign and allow the 1st District of Benton County to be adequately represented, because you realize for the last year and a half, the 1st District has been getting short shrift. That makes sense? So it's Title 8, Chapter 47, Section 110, if you want to write that down, and a simple petition to the Chancery or Circuit Court. And I think as soon as that goes public, I think that we'll get a resignation, which should have come more than a year and a half ago. It's embarrassing that this has went on this long. I know it's not any of you guys' fault individually, but it's time for this to stop, and it's time for the 1st District to be represented by a full slate of county commissioners. Thank you, Madam Chairman.
Michael White.
Madam Chairperson, members of the commission, I feel like I was just here. That was last week. First, I'd like to start off, and as you can see, if you're a veteran in the house, could you please stand up? If you can, I understand, but if you're a veteran, if you would, please. Thank you. That's the reason I'm here tonight. First, I'd like the commission, most of you probably already know this, but as of yesterday, we lost Benton County's last remaining World War II veteran of Joe Whitworth. He was 98 years old. Joe was a member of the U.S. Navy, and I just wanted to make sure that everybody knew that he passed away yesterday. I'm here to represent not only myself, the veterans of Benton County, but the American Legion, the Department of Veterans, Disabled Veterans, and the Veterans of Foreign Wars. I've moved to Camden back in 2016, been a member of these three organizations ever since. And from the highest holding office here in Benton County, we've been being promised a building here in Benton County. And we come to know that the Senior Citizens Building is about to become vacant. They're moving into the new one here in the very near future. I've been privileged as a person that works for a business here that's veteran owned in the community to work on that building. But the reason we're coming to you tonight is to establish why we feel like we should be able to be moved into that building under the guidance and the same way that the Benton County Senior Citizens Center is being leased that building now, is it to be leased to us that way. Not sure if everybody knows this, but Benton County is made up 10% of veterans. There's 1,297 veterans that we know about that are signed up with the VA in this county. The money that is brought in by those veterans alone is over $12 million by the VA. That doesn't include those of us that still work in the community, make a living in this community. So that money is also brought into this community. We have organizations around us that also have been given a building by their counties to lease to them for $1 a year or whatever terms they come up with. We, at this time, since I've been here, Country and Western, as most of y'all know, burnt down. We used to meet there. We moved that location to another restaurant, from a restaurant to a church, and so on and so forth. We keep moving around. I've been called, I've been told that people don't know that we have a veterans organization here in Benton County. We have 3 outstanding veterans organizations. We provide things to not only the veteran himself, but we can provide it for the families. Information that they may not know, that when their loved one passes, that they're obligated to be provided. And so if we had a set building, a set facility where we could occupy that on a daily basis, then veterans in the community or even outside the community can stop in and get services. We do have a trained and qualified veteran service officer here that locates herself here in this building. She is trained and she is paid by the county, and her hours are 20 hours a week. That's not enough time. There's not enough time in the day for one veteran to go in and spend hours with her for someone else to sit and wait and not be seen. We have 3 officers, one in each organization, that are also service officer qualified. They can handle that information. We can even fast track the information to help out our county VSO. I knew when I wrote this up tonight, I was not going to have time in 5 minutes to tell you all the things that we can do in this community. We provide for the schools. We go into the schools and provide different organizations. We do flag etiquette. We've done the 13 Folds programs. If you've all been out to the Apex Bank Fish Fry, the Apex Bank Veterans Luncheon, we've provided guest speakers. We've provided the 13 Folds to those organizations. Just the showing that you have here tonight, there's just the quick emails or quick text messages that we sent out tonight to try and get veterans here. So since I've got 42 seconds and I'll do this best, Madam Chairperson, I'm proposing that Benton County provide the following veterans organizations: the American Legion, the DAV, and VFW, a lease of the Benton County Senior Citizens Building once it has been unoccupied on a date and time to be determined after the building is vacated. We are proposing the same agreement that was agreed upon the Benton County Senior Citizens to be allowed to lease the building under a 1-year, $1 contract, which the following will maintain control and response. The county will maintain control and responsibility of the upkeep and maintenance on the building. We don't plan on opening up a bar like most places do. That's the last thing we want to do. We want to provide a place for veterans to come and be able to communicate with each other and share that. And my time is up, Madam Chairperson. Thank you for getting me on the agenda tonight. Thank each and every one of y'all for what you do. Go Army, beat Navy.
David Love.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is David Love. I live at 1000 Bethel Farm Loop, the land that time has forgotten. And if you don't believe it, come out and see it, because it's getting to be a real mess out there. I have talked to my county commissioner, and we see that we have resolutions for money for airports and tankers and all this other stuff you guys are talking about. That's all wonderful. But guys, until we take care of our infrastructure in this community, airports don't mean a lot for people who have no aircraft. This is not a commercial airport. People are not going to fly out of it. This is for the wealthy. We're not the wealthy. We're just common folks. And I represent a lot of retired folks in the area who need a voice. And I'm asking everybody to think about this stuff before you spend the money on things like airports, which I know there are folks that need the airports, but the vast majority of them don't. We need roads, we need sewer systems, we need ditches cleaned. We need things prepared and repaired badly. And I can't help but wonder sometimes when we sit out there in the county and our taxes are going up, not going up, but they're being assessed up. Remember, the insurance companies are going to look at this and they're going to say, oh, well, that guy's house is worth now double what it was before. They're going to assess his insurance according to that assessment. Guys, that's not fair. People are on a fixed income. I'm blessed, but not every senior citizen is blessed. Now, a lot of you guys in this room know me, known me for years. You and I go way back. Guys, I'm not trying to pull anybody's wool over anybody's eyes, but we really, really, really need to take a minute and step back. This county has got a lot of senior citizens. There's a lot of senior citizens in this room. And none of us getting any younger. We need to look back at the folks that need the tax breaks, that need the stuff done in the county. That's all I'm asking, is that everybody takes a step back and thinks about it. I know it's wonderful to have a nice airport. I know it's wonderful to have all this other stuff. But there's a lot of folks, and if they're going to afford aircraft, and aircraft are very expensive, and I know the maintenance is incredible. But that doesn't help the guy that's on a fixed income. Folks, we got people living in cars on Bethel Church Road. Living in cars. If you don't believe me, take a run down the road, I can show you. This should not be in this day and time in this county. That's all I'm asking for. Come down, take a run through there, and see for yourselves. This should not happen. And we don't need to spend tons of money on everything else when we can't even take care of the necessities. We got trucks beating the hell out of the roads. Trucks that don't belong on gravel church roads. There's no limits, there's no laws, there's no regulations, there's no codes. We need meaningful codes in this county. That's all I have to say. Thank you very much for listening.
You come see me tomorrow?
What's that?
You come to my office tomorrow?
Sir, I've been to your office several times, and I'm not trying to condemn anybody, but I can never find you there.
All right.
I've talked to your secretary several times.
You didn't leave a number for me to call.
I left a number with her, sir.
I was just saying I'd like to talk to you about it.
Well, I'm just saying.
What needs to be done.
I'm just saying. This doesn't just involve you, Mark. This involves the entire council.
I know.
There needs to be some voices in this county besides the ones who maybe sit in this room. Okay? There's a lot of people in Benton County that are hurting. There's a lot of people in the county that are downtrodden, and they are at the very wit's end. That's all I'm saying, folks. Give everybody a chance. Get out there and talk to these people. See what their problems are. Because nothing's getting fixed. Nothing's happening. And our infrastructure is decaying. All anybody has to do is just drive anywhere in this county. And guys, I've been here for 32 years. I remember what this county looked like 32 years ago. The roads were ribbon smooth. Everything was like brand new and well kept. Nothing is well kept anymore. And I see heads shaking.
I agree.
That's what I'm worried about. We need to take care of our own. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Love. Dr. Randy Shannon, please come forward.
Thank you very much. Thank you so much for this opportunity to speak with you this evening. This is the only way that I could think of addressing you as a group. I didn't want to do this 18 times individually, considering that if I come to you and speak to you as a group, most of your meetings are public meetings, and so I just thought we'd do it this way. I was approached by a group of concerned citizens to look at the purchase of the First Bank building, and while I went through that matter, I uncovered several irregularities regarding this matter, but I'm only going to address one of them here tonight. As you may recall, during the meeting on the commission on August 19, 2024, Mayor Ward presented a resolution 2024-0819-17 to purchase the First Bank building, as it's called, for $480,000. The original proposal called for $120,000 to be taken from the unassigned fund balance, while the remaining $360,000 would be paid in equal annual installments from the debt service. After extensive discussion, an amended version to this appropriations resolution was approved, stating that all funds would be sourced from the debt service in 4 equal annual payments. Now, during the discussion of the amendments, 6th District Commissioner Price inquired about the note, or the type of vote rather, required if the amendments were to pass. It is clear from the discussion that all believed a 2/3 vote would be necessary to pass the original appropriations resolution. County Attorney Melton clarified that the commission could not alter the 2/3 requirement established by the county's private act, and he also noted that Mayor Ward might have information that he did not possess. In response, Mayor Ward asserted, and I quote, "If money is not being appropriated out of this budget year, it don't require a 2/3 vote." As some of the, I'm sure the commission knows, but some who are watching this on Facebook and may see it in other places later, Benton County operates under a private act adopted in 1939 and amended in 1999. This act specifies, among other things, the following. Section 14, appropriations for which no provision was made in the budget as adopted shall be made only from any surplus resulting from an unappropriated balance of the tax rate, and then only by a 2/3 majority of the members of the county legislative body. Mayor Ward's assertion that this resolution did not appropriate money from the current budget year is questionable. Here's a good definition of an appropriation taken from Tennessee case law. An appropriation of funds is an allotment, assignment, or setting apart of such funds to the use of a particular person or persons, or thing or things for particular purposes. It is the setting apart from the public revenue of a certain sum of money for a specified object in such manner that the executive officers of the government are authorized to use that money, no more for that object and no other. If this resolution did not appropriate funds this budget year, how is it that the county has a loan agreement with First Bank for $480,000 dated October 16, 2024? I don't know how we do that. Why did First Bank, in drafting the aforementioned loan agreement, reference the appropriations resolution in item 3.10 of said note, which is called the due authorization for loan, which states the execution and delivery of this loan agreement and appendices hereto and instruments or documents required to be executed and delivered by bank to borrower pursuant to the terms hereof have been duly authorized as applicable in accordance with the certified resolution of borrower attached hereto as Appendix 4. So I don't know how we do this and say it's not appropriation this budget year. We bought it this budget year. How else could it be? I mean, if we buy it in 2032 and coming around thinking that, well, we just backdate it. Well, it doesn't work like that. If no funds were appropriated this budget year, how does the county have a promissory note held by First Bank dated October 16, 2024? If there was no appropriation from this budget year, why does the county have a deed of trust in favor of First Bank filed in the Register of Deeds office on October 16, 2024, Anybody can look this up. It's recorded in Book 420, pages 157 through 168. And furthermore, suppose the resolution did not appropriate funds this budget year, then why did the county mayor's office receive a write-up from the comptroller in its annual financial report for failing to comply with the law regarding this debt? It wasn't appropriated this year. Why did the comptroller write the mayor's office up this year? The law in specific that was stated in the comptroller's finding was TCA 921601, which is the issuance and sale of interest-bearing capital outlay notes approval by the comptroller. I'm not going to read you the law in whole, but I'm going to read you the law in part. In section B1, as you end out that subsection, it says that the local government is able to amortize the proposed indebtedness together with all other obligations of the local government then outstanding. Then outstanding. So they looked at everything we had in our budget. They looked at our debt service. They looked at our capital outlay. They looked at everything we had and they said, can you pay for this? So the county has a certain amount of money that it can borrow against. We have done that before. I'm sure we will do it again. And when we borrowed the money for this, we decreased our amount of debt that we could borrow against. In other words, we used our credit card and it had only so much money on it, and we've now got it sitting there waiting to be paid.
Dr. Shannon, can you find your final comments, please?
Well, I asked to be put on the agenda, Madam Chairman, just for this very reason. So I did not want to have the 5-minute limit here because this is a very important matter. And I'm sure you will indulge me with just a few more minutes.
Just a few more minutes.
Thank you, ma'am. This means that the comptroller will examine the debt of the county at that time the debt is issued to ensure that it can pay the money back. I'm on the last page too. Now that I've shown that this was an appropriations resolution, the Private Act does not limit the payment of any resolution to the current year. If it did, that would be silly. We couldn't have debt that lasted over a few years. Just think about Chicago, Illinois. They've now got debt that's going to go up into, I don't know, our great-grandkids. It does not speak to payment at all. In fact, if you read the Private Act yourself, it doesn't speak to payment at all. Furthermore, the county can only work off one budget at a time. The budget you're on is this year's budget. You haven't even approved the other one. You're in the process of negotiating what it's going to be, but you haven't approved it yet. It is more than evident that the First Bank building is not in this year's budget. If it were, this wouldn't have been an issue. So the record clearly shows that the County Commission attempted to pass an appropriations resolution on August 19, 2024 to purchase the First Bank building. However, the Commission failed to approve this resolution with 2/3 majority vote by the county's Private Act. As a result, the mayor's subsequent purchase of this building, I believe, directly violated the Private Act. And I request that this body allow me to negotiate with the county attorney and the mayor to resolve this issue. Once an agreement is reached and a corrective resolution can be brought before the commission during the April or May meeting for approval to formalize it. And if that should happen, no further steps need be taken. Thank you.
If you signed up for the citizens forum and it was to ask questions about your tax appraisal, we're going to get to that in just a few minutes. I have a name here, Billy Robertson. Was that about the tax appraisals? Okay, we're going to get to that. We're going to open the floor in a few minutes for questions, okay? So at this time, we're going to have Tax Assessor Ryan Hall come forward. But as you know, this is our County Commission business meeting. We welcome all of you here and we're glad you're here. I asked our Tax Assessor Ryan Hall to come to this meeting tonight because we knew that you were going to be here and that you needed some things explained to you and that you had questions. So the best way to do this was not during the citizens forum, but it was to ask Mr. Hall to come and explain things to you. I want everyone to please be attentive when he starts speaking to you. He's going to explain the tax appraisal, how it came about, and what the process is going to be. During this time, we will not tolerate any outburst from the public. There will be no name callings. You will not slander, belittle, denigrate him or anyone else. This is strictly a question and answer session. So please be respectful to Mr. Hall. I know he's had a lot of criticism and a lot of people make even threats to him. So let's listen to what he has to say. After he explains this to you, the floor will be open for 30 minutes only for questions and answers. So when you have a question, make sure it's clear. Don't repeat your questions over and over. That way we will have more time for more people to ask questions if they want to. So at this time, I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Hall.
Thanks, Roseanne. When I was asked last week was a rough week, I'll be honest with you, and but I do consider it a privilege to serve in this position, even though it's a tough one. But I want to come tonight and hopefully clear up some confusion, clear up some misinformation, and allow people to ask me questions. We've answered hundreds and hundreds of people's concerns and questions over the last week, and I kind of narrowed them down to 3 of the major ones that I've heard. And of course, I'm not going to be able to address your personal situation, your personal where you live there without having my data in front of me. And that's what we've been doing over the past week. We've been talking to literally hundreds of folks and breaking down their individual home. But I had 3 major questions that's been asked, and I thought I would just go ahead and answer those right off the bat.
Mr. Hall?
Yes, ma'am.
Would you mind turning around and
Yeah, I don't care.
addressing the audience?
They're looking at your best side.
Well, I don't know how many people's watch me on Facebook, but you get to see the genetics on the back of my head there. But yeah, you know, so the first question that I've been getting is who has been responsible for this? Who in the world has been responsible for what we have experienced over this past week? Well, as the assessor, I do have a lot of responsibilities. According to the comptroller and to CTAS that deals and advises all forms of local county government, the assessor has one of the most difficult and complex positions in local government. For one thing, we're called tax assessor. Our actual official title is assessor of property, and it goes all the way from there. People don't understand the position. They don't understand what the responsibilities are. But I know there's been some stuff shared on social media and stuff saying the assessor was responsible for this and stuff like that. So I thought I would try to address that right off the bat. It's true. I am the assessor and I am responsible for the assessor's office. Because of the size of our office and the number of staff, and because of the size of our county, we're considered a small county, and our parcel count actually determines the number of employees I have. As far as to my knowledge, that's the only office in local government that state law actually does dictate that. And I think we do a pretty good job on our day-to-day task and getting work done and stuff like that. But we physically do not have the ability to update when you're looking at over 16,000 real properties in the county. So we do require the Division of Property Assessment, which is directly under the comptroller's office. It's a whole division assigned just to the assessor's office. Most people call it the state. And so we are just physically unable to update the number of parcels and the changes that has to be done. So we require the comptroller's office to basically do this for us. Now, did they send me hundreds of cards over the last 6 months to manually key and change things? Yes, they did. I had to go into our system and manually change things. But those were closely monitored by them. I had to actually respond back to the email when they were completed, and they actually went over them pretty good to make sure that what they told me to change, I actually changed. And there was very little wiggle room with them on any of that. So although what you got in the mail had my name on it, and from what I understand on social media, I took the brunt of the blame. The local folks in our office, myself and my staff that work hard for you every day, every year, we just physically weren't able to do this. So the comptroller's office conducted this reappraisal. And we're not the only ones in this boat this year. I was just the first one in our little area right here. Henry County, Decatur County, and Carroll County, they're going to be filling their courtrooms full in May, because that's when their change notices hit the mailbox. And this is nothing special for Benton County either. This has been going on across the state really for the last 5 years. And that gets me to my second question. And this is a big one. It says, why did my value go up so much? That's a big question that people have had. Well, the way they do these values is they take the data of the sales of what our housing market has done over the last 5 years. So 2020 was our last one, and I can tell you right off the bat, remember in March of 2020, that's when COVID really flared up, and we actually shut the courthouse down for 2 positive cases right when my change notices went out. And so it was a really confusing time for everybody then. But COVID really changed the world, and I think everybody would agree to that. And what it really changed is people that lived all over the country could come and live anywhere else they wanted to, and most of them could work remotely. And so this changed our complete housing market. People that had homes that they had equity in for many years and had vested in, they were able to sell those properties and then come to Tennessee. And because, believe it or not, we are considered a very low tax state when you look at the nation. And so these folks, they rushed into our beautiful communities and our beautiful areas, and they bought these houses, and they were tickled to death to get them. And people's homes values went up, and everybody was like, well, gosh, my house is worth so much more now than it was, and these people are coming here and all this stuff, and everything's going great. And then we have a reappraisal, and all of that sales data that they've accumulated over all these 5 years, that went into our new appraisals. And really, according to the numbers, our average increases of what most people's was affected on the residential part of it, they went up on average over 80%. Now, some areas went up even more than that. Some areas were a little less than that. But it was historic is the word I've been using. And I knew this was coming. And I knew that the stuff was going up because every morning I get the deeds, and I've got a spiral notebook, and I just write down the map and parcel, what it sold for, and what I've got it appraised at on the tax card. And we just kept getting further and further and further away from what the market was doing. And then, of course, the state come in and they reassessed everybody's, and here we are tonight. So the reason why your value went up so much is because the sales data showed that this is what Benton County's values are. And you say, well, Ryan, how do you know that it was correct? Well, I've been able to see these numbers for about a month, the final numbers. And them warranty deeds has been coming to me every morning, and I've been writing those numbers down. I can tell you, folks, there's still 80 to probably in the 90s even coming in selling higher than these new numbers that's got everybody so upset. So when is it going to ever stop, and when is it ever going to stop selling for so high? Only the good Lord knows the future. I don't pretend to. I thought it would have crashed a long time before now. But the sales data is still coming in at that. So hopefully, I know you got a sticker shock. And when the state gave me all these numbers and everything, I done a Fred Sanford. I mean, you know, Elizabeth, I'm coming to join you. I mean, I couldn't believe what they were telling me. I knew it was going to be high, but I didn't have a clue it was going to be that high. But then the last question, and this is the one that's really on everybody's mind. Does this mean that my taxes are going to double because of this appraisal? Probably everybody here tonight, the bottom line is, you know, hey, I can't believe my property went up that much, but how much is this going to cost me, right? I think that's a pretty fair question to ask. And I know that we live in a very, you know, especially our local population, a lot of those are on fixed income. A lot of those have never made the big city money and stuff like that. And it's a concern. It's a concern to our seniors. And of course, we got some awesome tax relief programs through the trustee's office for low-income seniors, for disabled veterans. If you fall into those classifications, please take advantage of that. But my goal, and this commission, I really believe's goal is that people's property taxes don't double because of this. And it's actually, to be honest with you, not the state's goal that it does that. Because state law says, regardless of who your assessor is, and y'all can kick me out of here in 2028 and get you somebody new in, and I promise you, if the state law is still the same and the sales are still the same, you're going to be sitting here all over again because this thing is locked in by state law. But because we had to go through this reappraisal and the state did raise all of this, they have to, by law, come back and give us a brand new tax rate. Now, folks want to know, what's my taxes going to be? And to be honest with you, in any year, even in the past 4 or 5 years, if you would have came to your commissioner or to me and you said, Ryan, what am I going to be paying in taxes this year in October when I pay them in February next year? What am I going to be paying? Well, I wouldn't have been able to told you that then. And the budget committee wouldn't be able to tell you that because they actually work the budget to see our tax needs every year. And so I can say this, and this is something to be proud of in this time that we're in. We have not had a county-wide property tax rate increase since the reappraisal in 2015. Now, I don't know how many counties around us can say that, but Benton County can say that. We've had different commissioners in these positions over the years, but these commissioners have voted no county-wide tax increase since 2015. Now, what they done in 15 is we went through reappraisal, and the state came back with what they call a certified tax rate. This has to be a revenue neutral to the county. And this tax rate, it's not just the dollar amount and then a couple of cents after it. They break this thing down in the tens. It is the exact dollar that the county brings in, minus new construction and growth that the county gets every year. But anything the state put their finger on in reappraisal and changed, they have to offset that by a certified tax rate. And in 2015, the state gave the certified rate and the commission voted to go 20 cents above that, I believe. I think we were at $2.97. They come in at $2.70 something. I don't remember those exact numbers. Well, because we've had this historic reappraisal, and I don't know if it'll ever be this big again. Like I said, nobody knows the future, but I can tell you this is the largest increase any assessors had to face and any citizens had to face. And I can promise you, nobody hates reappraisal more than I do, but it is what it is, and I'm bound by the law to do it. But when we get that new certified tax rate, so right now, you've got your notices. So state law says that now you have what they call an informal hearing time, where you look at it and you say, man, there's no way my place is worth this. So you call, and we've literally answered hundreds and hundreds of phone calls. I had 2 people from the comptrollers here last week, and believe me, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, if you called, you didn't get through because every time we hung up a phone, it rang again. And so we have worked hard, but what we do is informal hearing. I ask you specific questions about your home and property. And based on that information, we make a decision. If we decide not to do anything or make a change, then you don't receive any more paperwork. But if we do decide to make a change, then probably the best I can figure it about the first week or so of May, those second notices are going to go out, showing our decision of what was made. At that time, if you didn't get anything changed, or you're not satisfied with my office's decision, then you have a right as a taxpayer to appeal to the next level. And this is the County Board of Equalization. These are 5 local people. Many of them, some of them have served for 30 years on there. They are very experienced and knowledgeable about that process. You bring your information in, your proof. You can't just come in and say, hey, I think it's too high. You've got to bring some proof in to show that your home is not what the market is showing it would bring. Then based on that decision, they make their decision on that, and you receive another paper. This one is just be handwritten out by the county board. And then if you're still not satisfied, then you can move on to the state courts. Usually that pretty much eliminates the residential side of it historically. But at the end of that process, and I'm going to keep it open for the maximum amount of days, to give everybody a chance to make an appointment and come in that wants to. So right now, I believe that's going to start on June the 3rd. That's on a Monday. And then June, we're going to go all 5 business days of that week. The second week, all 5 days of that week. And then June the 18th, that's a Wednesday of the 3rd week of June, we're going to conclude those meetings. Now, the commission meets on that Monday. So we're not going to have that certified rate at that June meeting, okay? Just because I want to leave it open as long as I can for the people to be heard and to appeal that want to. But after all of that, I feel like we'll probably call a special called meeting up here where the public will be invited back in again, just as tonight, and our commissioners, based on the suggestion of the budget committee and what the county is asking for in the money this year, we will set a new tax rate. What will that tax rate be? I don't know. I told you in 2020, for the first time in 15 years, we went with that certified rate, and I was proud of that too. But I got a preliminary, just a ballpark figure of what it was looking at. It's not the official one. I want to stress that. But it was coming in, instead of dropping it 20-something cents, it was coming in and dropping it a little over $1. Now, when that final one shakes out, I don't know what it'll be. But to be honest with you, that's really, after we verify that your parcel is correct, that's the only card we've got to play as your leaders in county government, is to go with the certified tax rate. And then after we go with that certified tax rate, everything falls where it's going to after that. Some folks will still pay a little more on the certified rate. Some folks will pay less. But hopefully, everybody will be pretty close to about the same. And that's what we really want. I don't want people's taxes going through the roof. But these appraisals are locked in. They are set by this sales data. And every county assessor that I've spoken to over the last 2 or 3 years, it's been statewide. So hopefully that lets you know something. And like I said, Miss Roseanne said that we're going to give, I want people to ask, if you want specific answers about your specific parcel, I'm not going to be able to tell anybody what their taxes are going to be. We already covered that. And I'm not going to be able to tell you what was changed on yours up here tonight. But I'll be glad to talk to anybody in the office moving forward between now and around the 1st of May. Okay? And then we'll get everything locked in on that county board. Then we'll get through that. And we'll hopefully get us a lowest tax rate possible. But any questions, I'll be glad to help answer any of those from anybody in the audience. Yes, sir, Mr. Bill.
Well, since you can't talk about the taxes there, I'll just beat you to office. One thing, I don't mind paying taxes. I do on everything. We all gripe about it. We got to pay it anyway.
Right.
But I want to know why you said over at that podcast meeting in Paris that the property tax in Sugar Tree was not gonna go up, you was gonna get the rest of us now. I know there ain't 3 houses up there worth $5,000, but.
I don't remember saying that, but I can tell. Look here. I can tell you, Sugar Tree. Traditionally, Sugar Tree has potential to be a very beautiful area, and there's some very beautiful homes up there. And then there's some that could probably address what that man was saying a while ago about his neighborhood. But I can tell you about Sugar Tree. Okay, Sugar Tree was locked in, appraised at $1,000 a lot for the last 2 reappraisals in 2015 and 2020. Sugar Tree lots on average went to $5,700 to $7,000 a lot. And why in the world would they have done that? Because people are buying Sugar Tree lots for $5,000 and $7,000 a half acre. Now, I have been able to address some of those lots because I told the state guy that priced our land. I said, man, let me tell you about Sugar Tree. Some of them are decent lots, and some of them, Jimmy Hop is at the bottom of the hill. It's a ravine down there. And so I said, and he said, well, the only way to mass appraise it is, he said, I'm going to have to put this sales data in, and then when they call and come in, we'll look at it. And he was there last week, and a lot of Sugar Tree folks were calling, telling us that. And I told him, I said, I told you this is the way it's going to be. Some of them's good lots, and some of them ain't no good for nothing, unless it's like Gatlinburg where people start building on stilts and stuff, But Sugar Tree did go up. A lot of people don't realize these old West Vaco tracts that us local folks know, you got one right up the hill from your mama's house up there on top of the hill. It's old cut over land. These big timber companies are buying these tracts, cutting every tree off of them, and then subdividing them into little 10-acre places on God's green earth, and people are giving $5,000 for stuff that local folk wouldn't have give $250 for it back a few years ago. And you can drive back down in some of them dirt roads, and people are living in whatever they can do. They ain't got no water, they ain't got no electricity, but they're out of these places that they're coming from. But these prices is what we're up against on the local level, because it is what it is. They've got thousands of sales over the last 5 years that shows this.
I got one more question. How much land do we own south of I-40 in Benton County?
You would be surprised. A lot of people think the interstate cuts off Benton County, but there's a lot of territory up there. We run into Decatur on up there, but if anybody's from up in that area, where you go on up to Morgan's Creek and go down Birdsong Road, cross the interstate, go all the way till you drop off the big hill at Birdsong, down in that bottom, that's Morgan's Creek area. You turn to the left, and there's a road that runs over called Shaker. That's just about the county line over in there. Buck's here, he can tell you about where it's at. But you take Birdsong Road, we go way on up in there. And then, of course, the Loves, we got all that the way they built it. The county line actually runs right through that Loves sign up there, and the gas pumps and stuff. But we got all the cash registers, and that's really helped us up there. But there's a creek that runs back behind Loves that the county line runs through up there. But there's several thousand acres up there across the interstate. But
Bourbon County is, why don't we just sell that part?
That's above my.
Ryan, let's move on to someone else.
Okay. Any other questions, ma'am?
In this county, I'm not complaining, but I am. But how many buildings do we actually own in the surrounding area, like the old Walmart building, all the buildings that we got? What happens to this money that we sell these buildings for? And
that would be a question for the mayor about the finances and the general fund and stuff like that. But I believe it would any money sold goes directly back into the general fund.
Not necessarily.
Yeah. And ma'am, that's out of my office there. But
they cut off timber, and that belongs to our county. Is Benton County not getting nothing for that timber?
That's a state-owned park, so.
Even though it's a state-owned park, the state ain't giving the county anything.
Well, the state gives the county money, and that's kind of getting off subject of the reappraisal, but But yeah, the,
Our taxes, they're getting us up on taxes instead of giving back to our county people. We need some of that state money put back into our county.
any state questions, I would just advise you to call your legislators and stuff like that. I mainly want to try to stay focused on the reappraisal and any questions you have on that. Some of this stuff gets way out of what I'm responsible for. But sir, you're sitting right there beside her. Could I get your answer, our question next?
I understand, you know, a half acre of land, an acre going for $5,000, $6,000 or whatever. I understand. But I've got 89 acres. It went from under $100,000. It went to over $600,000 in value.
Mm-hmm.
The bigger the land, acreage, you're not gonna bring the high dollar a half acre.
I'm glad you brought that up as a larger property owner with acreage, because a lot of my farmers, a lot of my larger tract people have gotten really confused on that change notice itself. So the top line is your worst one. That's your market appraisal. Then your next line is your green belt or your use value. All my farmers and my timber tract people and stuff like that that's been taking advantage of Greenbelt, there's some of those, and your particular thing, like I said, you could come down there and let me show it to you on your card. But look, some of that the state put what they call a factor on, where because of the location, because if it was close to something or on 641 or something like that, they bumped it on that market side even higher than what a traditional bump would have been. But on the Greenbelt side, by law, it is capped at 30% of what it was before reappraisal. I was looking at Greenbelts last week that was $7,000 and $10,000 an acre on the market side, that was dropped down to $1,500 and $2,000 an acre on the Greenbelt side. Not even that much. And so if you come in and you said, Ryan, this market side, it's out of whack, and I put them lines to zero, I didn't charge you a dime on the market side for that green belted property. This green belt side is going to be what you pay taxes on. And right now it's coming in at about a 70% reduction off of the market side. So your green belt folks are going to really be, like I said, if you built a new house, stuff like that, I can't speak on individuals, but as a whole, my farmers and my green belted forest land and stuff is going to be coming in, the best I can tell, at about a wash. You know, because at about even at the certified potential rate, because this green belt took so much off of it. And so your green belted parcels, and if anybody that's 15 acres or above that's not in green belt, go on Tennessee property data and look for a 12 or an 11, agriculture or forest. That'll tell you if you're in green belt. If you're in a 10, you need to get in green belt because you got 15 acres or above.
Well, I've got 24 acres of pine, I know I'm supposed to have.
Your total acreage is what it consists of, though.
About 70 acres.
You should be in green belt then.
That's paper I got showed I had 23 acres.
Well, you come to me and we'll look at your individual one.
Sir?
You come to me and we'll look at it. We'll look at your individual one. Fair enough? All right. And so we got sir right here behind. I'll go with you.
This is for the,
All right, so
this
you
is for the
said
public.
We
Okay.
have, that all this prices going up off of 641, where it would be flatline. Me and my father both own big property on 641.
Yeah, I think you came in last week and we looked at that, didn't we? Did you talk to the comptroller folks too, or?
They never did get back to me about that.
Okay. It was over 15 acres.
Well, my brother's got 44 acres, it's up there on Ball Knob Road, but that's neither here nor there. My dad, which is right here beside me, he's got a piece of property up there that's a 5-acre lot, and then I've got an 1.5-acre lot that's 6 miles up the road. And both of them are on 641, and we're gonna have to pay a flat rate tax because we're sitting on the main highway.
Well, you were appraised based on the sales data in your neighborhood and area. So just as I mentioned a while ago about the sales, they broke it down to roads, they broke it down to neighborhoods, they broke it down to areas, and then they broke it down into regions of the county. But your appraisal was based on the sales in that area. Now, if you got a ditch running through it or there's a topography issue, that's something that we need to address individually. And I thought you came in, and I waited on hundreds of people, but you're welcome to come back and we can look at, or you wait for your change notice in May, you see what was changed, and then you come back through the other appeal processes that I mentioned. Yes, sir?
All the money in Benton County, does it go into Benton County, or are we talking about the state getting part of it?
The state comptroller's office doesn't get a dime off of Benton County. The state comptroller's office, a lot of times people make this comment and they say, oh, the state just done this to get a bunch of money. Y'all have heard that plenty of times. The state of Tennessee doesn't get a dime of property tax money off of Benton County residents.
So Benton County then is getting all this.
Benton County gets every penny of property tax money that's brought in every year.
$95,253,000.
Well, you don't know what you're going to pay in taxes yet. We talked about that earlier, but if you've came in and talked about your appraisal already, we should have already explained that to you on your individual parcel. In the back, ma'am?
You said that state, no part of this, no limit of it, it's all Benton County. Then how come we have to pay more for somebody who sold something next door? I don't plan on moving, I don't plan on selling.
It's a good question.
But I gotta sit there and pay more because I decide to stay here. And you said, and does the state even come down and see what kind of conditions we're living in? I mean, we don't have nothing here, so why do we go up?
The only thing the state does is looks at them numbers on them sales.
Tell me what's going on right now. My house hasn't changed in over 20 years.
Right? And
It's gone up that much. I mean, mine went up, like he said, only double, it was double. It went up double.
yeah, your home has appreciated, not depreciated, but appreciate a standard well-kept home. You know, if you've kept your home up, you get appraised by the sales and what that house is. If you got brick, you get appraised as a brick. If you got siding, you got appraised as siding. If it was built in 1970 and it was an average quality, they bumped every 1970 up that same amount. If it's built in the 80s, they bumped it. They took every house that was average or average minus quality, and they bumped it from a 2005 down. They wanted to go with 2010, and I told them, no, that's too new of a house. So they went 20 years and over. They bumped everybody's. That was an average or an average minus. I don't understand. I'm with you. Now, there was a potential new legislation that would have done away with the reappraisal as it is in law right now, and stuff would have been bumped at that sale price. There was some legislators that was trying to do that last year to where you increased at an average of 2% if you hadn't done anything, but if you sold, you got to immediately change. The assessor would change it to what that sale price was. But the conversation was, you got the same house across the road as you got here, and this one's at $100,000, and somebody from wherever come here and give $500 for that one. Is it fair and equitable that this house is $100,000 and this one's at $500 and it's the same subdivision, the same house? Well, the legislator said that it wasn't fair and equitable. I argued as your assessor in these meetings, and I said, yeah, but is it fair that your grandmother that's lived in this for all these years, appraisal goes up to $300 because this guy give $500 and hers is at $100? But, you know, I was just one little voice in that, but that's the law, ma'am. That's the law. The process that we just went through is the law. And it's the law across the whole state of Tennessee.
It's pretty sad that most of the people in this town have to travel 2 hours to get a job to pay to live in this town.
I've done it years myself, several years. Well, I can tell you when you sell, you're going to be paying a lot higher than what you would have a few years ago. And a lot of people are having to downsize what they were in because it's so high everywhere. If you've already asked a question, I'm going to go ahead because I don't want this to keep going. Miss Roseanne, what are we looking at?
We've got 15 minutes.
Okay.
Okay, it's everywhere, and it is happening everywhere. It's not just here in, Tennessee and Benton County, of course, we're concerned is that's where we live.
Right.
But let's look at it nationally, and you got finished talking about how, the state looks at it. Well, all the states look at it, the states are always under the federal anyway, we must don't kid ourselves.
Right.
And so, we've got this going on where these people are coming in spending big bucks from everywhere, and they all wanna go everywhere to get away from whatever they're getting. Really, is that all it is? Well, they're coming in, they're buying all of this stuff. How much of this property that's out there in farmlands, we own some properties, nothing but field, nothing but woods, nothing there. There's no electricity. Okay, and a lot of people are in that situation. How much of this property is being bought by BlackRock?
That's a really good question. Most of the time, they're under some LLC. They're hiding that. I can tell you, as your assessor, it wasn't under BlackRock, but I have personal knowledge of it. There were several rental houses that were sold recently, from what I understand, to this. When you go all the way to the top, it's BlackRock.
Where you go further, that's my point. The entire nation is under attack by this operation.
Absolutely.
They take over personal property of everybody living in this country, and that's what they're doing, because nobody's exposing it on the national media, and they cover up everything. They still are. The new regime is not exposing what's really going on, and we're losing our homes, we're losing our families, we're losing everything because they are squeezing us out. They want every inch of the real estate of this country, of the world, actually.
Yes, sir.
BlackRock is international, it's bigger than the government. So they got all kinds of different names, and I'm just wondering, why are these people paying this money? Who would want this property? People who are taking over our whole area.
A lot of these.
I want to know if you're really taking a look at this and saying, no, you damn well can't buy this property because you're trying to take us over. You're an enemy of not only this community, but our entire country.
Mm-hmm.
Who the hell do you think you are to be able to be allowed to do it? That's my question.
Well, that goes way above my pay level. I'm just the little local Benton County assessor. The law is in the land, if you own it and it's yours, you can sell it to whoever you want to. That's the law. You don't want me telling you who to sell your house to. Now, their agenda is not good.
No, it's not. I'm not blaming you.
Right, and I don't even have the authority to. I mean, they give us the deeds, and we just change the ownership name and put it what it sold for in the computer, and they reappraise it. But what they're doing to these, buying up these, now this is really serious up outside of Murfreesboro and stuff. My fellow assessors up in there, they've been fighting this. But these big companies, they got the dollars, and they've got these. My mind just went blank. These people that, well, no, they've got these lobbyists on Capitol Hill paying, and it's ruining. And like you said, it's bad. It's bad, brother. And then people are scared about losing their homes. I know that's what the major thing is. Am I going to be able to pay my taxes after y'all done this, And that hurt, that breaks my heart that we're in this vicious cycle right now of this market but I don't know what the answer is. I can't help what it's selling for.
I understand that, Ryan, but you do acknowledge, you admitted that, yeah, BlackRock is involved in this.
They're in Benton County right now.
They're involved with everything in the world. But if we know they are there, we know that how evil they are. It's a threat to every single person in this room that owns anything, because they want it all. And they're doing everything they can, but like you said, man, you're right. Phony names, or whatever kind of thing it is, and it's to go to the top, it's BlackRock, or it's not going to Vanguard State Street. It's most of BlackRock. We gotta nip this in the bud before we no longer have county or any private property.
Talk to your legislators on the state level. There's laws in place to start trying to foreign entities buying land. That's going on too. Foreign governments are buying land, farmland, and all this stuff. But anyways,
let's get back on the subject.
Back on track. Go ahead.
Is it true that Benton County's rate is the fourth highest in the state?
I've heard that. Now here's the thing. As counties have been going through this reappraisal, and we've been way over here in this 5-year cycle, so we've been falling behind every year. These counties have been doing reappraisal. Their county commissioners has been getting a new tax rate. They've been accepting that tax rate, and it's been dropping $1, $1.50, $1. Our appraisals went up historically, and we are going to have the potential to drop our tax rate more than any county commission any time in the history of Benton County because of what we've experienced. Right now, with us being at this 5-year, it's very likely, but when we get our final tax rate, and that's all put on the internet and stuff, check it out then. Because I don't know now because, I can't keep up with the whole counties, all the counties in the state, but I can tell you, we're going to have a potential to really drop it come July. Okay, yeah, and that's all public information.
Right.
Yep.
Some counties that has a lower tax rate, like Carroll County, they have a wheel tax and a special school district tax.
That's right.
Where we fund our whole government entity out of the one property tax. We don't have a special school district for Hamlin, one for Holiday, one for Big Sandy, one for Briarwood. We don't have.
Tags cost you $200 every time.
There's factors in there that cause you to have a higher tax rate.
Commissioner Arnold, excuse me, let's get back to the public for now and let the public answer.
Trying to see what Mr. Arnold talking about.
He was just saying that in most counties, you have more funding the government than just a property tax. You have a wheel tax. You have special school district taxes. There's a lot of taxes out there. We're just living off the property tax and sales tax. Reappraisal questions? Still got 8 minutes. Well, our county government is funded. Our schools, our highway department, our sheriff's department, our businesses, parts down here in the courthouse, our senior citizens.
I'm the first one to say he's been the best we've had many years. But our local they've not had the money. They needed to make we need more money there.
Yeah.
And why is our county not getting it if our taxes are going up?
Well, we don't know if the taxes are going up yet. We've talked about that, but we hadn't had a tax increase since 2015 countywide. And we're doing the very best, That's nothing to do with this. I'm not gonna go down any building discussions or anything like that. Reappraisal questions, I'll be glad to take any more reappraisal questions. I want to educate the public. If you're getting your information off of Facebook, more than likely it could be wrong. And what's been going on and what's been said and what's been done, it really is a sign of the times, and the Lord's coming, or is going to come back soon, these public offices, there ain't none of these up here easy, folks. I'm telling you, and we're all trying our best. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, you say Facebook and social media are questionable as far as the reliability of your information. So where do we go to get the right information?
You can go to the government websites, the state comptroller's website. They've got awesome videos, just little cartoon videos that is so simple on reappraisal, ratio studies, greenbelt, the birth of a parcel. I was just looking at some of them this weekend. The Tennessee Comptroller's Office has tons of access to educate yourself. You call me, anything in the assessor's office, I will be glad to explain to you what we do, why we have to do it, when we have to do it, and how we have to do it. Doesn't matter who the comptroller's office checks my work every 90 days. There's no under the table. I'm not paving Main Street with this reappraisal and whatever other crazy stuff you saw out there. This is locked in by state law, every step of this process. And you either educate yourself and be informed or be misled. That's with anything in our nation now. Seek out correct information.
So we have been through that long, so it was like, okay, where do we go?
Yeah, because where people are coming from, it's bad. I mean, Tennessee is one of the, I'm partial to it, but it's one of the best places to live in the nation. I hope everybody feels more at peace. I know everybody got a sticker shock. Believe me, we'll look at your parcel. Give me time if the phone's ringing. If I can't get back with you, I got a stack of people to call just from last week. But I'm trying my best to work hard for you and to try to help as much as I can. Yes, sir. One more thing. We'll close her out.
When I was talking about having 89 acres, that's supposed to be in the green belt.
You come to me. We'll look at it.
Go up those $7,000, should it?
It didn't on Greenbelt. You come to me, okay? Come to me. Well, I promise you.
Where my house is.
You sit down there right by me. You sit down there right by me, and we'll go over every line item of it.
Home is in value, no doubt. But timberland, I thought that was pretty sharp.
5,000 an acre for cut over West Vaco, but you come to me and we'll talk about it. Down there, it's selling for that. Yes, sir. Thank y'all so much. Got one more question?
No, I wanted to say thank you.
Oh, thank you, ma'am.
Senior citizens, and you explained it there. You've taken all kinds of questions, all kinds of stuff, and you've done it with a smile and gratitude, and I just want to say thank you.
I'm a Christian before I'm an assessor, before I'm anything. I'm not perfect, but I do pray for wisdom and knowledge every day with my little boy going to school, and I'm so thankful for this job and what it means to my family, and I do appreciate that. Thank you. Come to me outside. I'm gonna let them get down to business here.
Okay, thank you everyone for coming tonight. I hope that this eased your mind and that you got a lot of your questions answered. At this time, we're going to take a 10-minute break.
The better half.
So, do you see, deposits from the fuel sales?
Calling Commissioner Price. Calling Commissioner Price.
If not showing up, we don't get any updates.
Let's see, calling Commissioner Fowler, Commissioner Arnold.
Yeah.
They're not listening to me, Debbie. Commissioner Miller.
Or see the minutes.
Commissioner Fowler. Commissioner Arnold. Commissioner Miller. Who else? We are at number 3 on the agenda, which is the Commissioner's Forum. Do we have a commissioner that would like to say anything?
Now I can say something.
Commissioner Bain.
I just have 2 quick statements that I'm going to make. First of all, I want to say that property passed, and I was really proud that they did that for the veterans to move into that building when the seniors move out. And I think that would be a very good use for them to have that building. It won't be sitting there empty. And they deserve to have that as an office to operate out of and do whatever they want to with it. And I don't know what we got to do to make that happen. But I really think that that would be a good thing for us to do, is to let them occupy that space. And my second comment that I want to make is about the property tax thing. And even if we can get the tax rate down to kind of level off the amount that the property taxes is that the people have to pay, it's not even addressing that our home insurance, our property insurance is going to double, if not more than double, because of our property being assessed, the value being assessed at a whole lot more. And the ones that it's going to really hurt is the people in the county living under the poverty level, which I have to say I am one of them, living on a fixed income, single women, widows that are just drawing their Social Security disability check. It's going to take 1 or 2 of their checks that they get a month just to pay the insurance and maybe the property taxes if they can, because of the high cost of what the property has been assessed at. I'm going to say the house next door to me went up more than doubled, and I'm not going to say who lives there, but she's on Social Security like I am. And, you know, the people like us that are living at such a low income rate, we're the ones that it's going to hurt the most, especially after our home insurance skyrockets, which it's actually going to do because of this this assessment value on the house. Hopefully we can offset the property taxes with the certified tax rate, but that's not going to do anything to help us on our home insurances. And that's all I want to say. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Bain. Anyone else? Commissioner King.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. Glad to see the veterans and citizens here tonight. Very important stuff. And a couple of things I just want to talk about. One of them was during our special meeting we had on the Private Act, there was a question that I asked the county attorney to look into, and that was about we've always been told that once the budget comes before us, if we fail it, then we can't change anything about it. We can add to it. Ms. Brasher made that comment, and that's when I asked the question of the county attorney. So the county attorney, anytime I say something, I'm reading kind of out of what you sent me. But the bottom line is, yes, we can line item stuff. Now, there are some caveats to it. One of them is we can't reduce the Budget Committee's recommendations concerning paying any and all debts, which makes sense, right? We owe the money, we got to pay it. Number two is really the big one. The commission can, however, increase or reduce any other monies for any other line item as long as they respect the state rules concerning so-called maintenance of effort expenditures. And of course, state pay schedule stuff, we got that. But that's the big thing. You know, I don't know how many times in the past that I've been here that I've been told we can't do anything. And now we have a legal opinion that we can. So I just wanted everybody to understand that, and I'll be happy to provide you with the interpretation and the letter from county attorney. So I thought that was great to get. And it changes a lot of things. Another thing I wanted to kind of discuss was a capital improvement plan. And I know the property committee, we discussed it, and I did give out some information on a capital improvement plan. And why we need one, you know, go around to any buildings we own and look at some of the conditions that they're in. Okay, like the senior citizens building. I went over there and walked around it. The gutters are all hanging off. The fascia board's rotten. And that's just one building. I don't know what the inside looks like. But we don't have a plan to fix this stuff. And it's sad that we buy another building and we don't fix the buildings we have. But the capital improvement plan is very simple. You look at what you have and you keep records on what you have. We don't know how old some roofs are. We don't know when they're going to have to be replaced. We do know about air conditioners because we have been replacing them, but we don't know if a building's got lead in it. We don't know if it's got asbestos in it, and we don't have a floor plan for most of our buildings. Okay, there's no way, well, other than a physical tracking of what we do to a building. Okay, there's no automated system. I asked how many buildings we had, and nobody gave me the answer. I went to Ryan's office and got the tax on property we own, but that's how I found out about it. Okay, so bottom line there, folks, is that capital improvement plan is needed, and I will give more information later. You know, there might be a software or a computer program that might be needed, but it won't be very much. We might be able to make our own. Okay. Second thing, or the other thing I want to talk about real quick is, can we get on the agenda the committee's reports? That they stand up and just tell what went on in that committee real quick. Like budget could say, we looked at all the things that we have, resolutions, and we approved them all. Property could say, you know, we looked at those and they're okay. Or we talked about the veterans. You know, we were in favor of the veterans following through with the building out there. But there's more has to be done. Memorandum of understanding, a lot of other things, lease and all that. But, you know, that would be a very good time for us, the commission, to also tell the people listening what's going on in the committees. I know we get the committee reports and stuff, but that would be a good thing. And plus it adds to our transparency. You know, if we're not transparent in everything we do, you know, we're missing we're behind the 8 ball. And we owe that to the folks. And we are the 3rd highest in property tax in Tennessee. So thank you very much.
Anyone else?
Madam Chair. Don't go back to the normal track. Only thing I want to address is Dr. Berry got up and made the statement about us being able to remove somebody for office. We had sent Commissioner Stokes letters, certified letters. I think they'd come back undeliverable. We have asked, him to step down. Now, I was told by CTAS we could not remove nobody because it's an elected position and it's not a full-time position. He's not regular. He's not on a salary. He only gets paid if he shows up. My question to our council is, can we remove somebody who only gets paid if they show up or not? I think that's something we need to look at. If we can do an ouster, then we need to do it, because the people of the first district has not had a full slate of commissioners, and they deserve a full slate, So, I mean, my question would be for us to check that out and see if an ouster proceeding could be done if being a commissioner is not on a regular salary, like your office holders downstairs, your trustees, your mayor, your sheriff, or anything like that. If they was not coming to the office, then I understand you could do an ouster proceeding on them. But I was told that we couldn't. But everybody's got an opinion, and some of them's not right 100%. So that's one thing. We keep hearing about our buildings. We keep hearing about the mayor's the First Bank building. And other night in property, I asked a question. The comment was brought up, and then I asked a question, I guess. And y'all correct me if my memory is not as good as it once was. Is who has the authority to assign offices? And I think Commissioner King told us that the county commission is the one who has the authority to assign offices. So I mentioned that maybe that if we're going to be looking at who goes where and what goes where, that maybe those suggestions need to come to the property committee. Give the property committee adequate time to look at it, study it, see what's the most feasible thing to go in a structure, whether or not it's feasible to move an office because of the data equipment that has to be required, what the cost of that would be, whether or not a building could have more than one office. But I think if we take it before those committees and not bring a resolution up to, property and then expect us to vote on it the next month, we need some time to look at it and say, okay, we need to go study that facility, look and see what could go there, what the feasibility is, what the need is, and then bring it back before the full commission. Now, will the whole property committee agree on what needs to go there? Probably won't. But in the commission, have other ideas what needs to go somewhere. But if the commission is the one that has the authority and has to vote on it, I think we need to have a step to say who goes where needs to come before the proper channels and then roll it back to the full commission. That's just what we discussed tonight in the meeting. Thank you.
Can I ask a question?
Yes.
Pertaining to that, I agree totally. I've heard through the years, well, we're going to do this, and we're going to do that, but there's nothing in writing that says we're going to do that. And to me, we can talk all day long, but we got to do something. We got to make something that says this is what's going to happen, instead of I'm going here and I'm going there, saying here's where everybody's at. Anybody moves, this is what has to happen.
Right.
And I think that makes more sense than somebody going, well, we talked about that 6 months ago, and this is what we decided.
Yeah.
Who's we?
Yeah, that's true. That's what I'm saying. If you can take it through a committee, let the committee make a recommendation. We've all seen Walk and Talk where Buford put the judge down in the bathroom. And I think the state law at one time, when the sheriff actually had an office inside the courthouse, they did have say over where everybody was located. That all kind of went out, because nobody wanted to go to the bathroom and have an office. So, if everybody's told, this is who does it, this does it. Commissioner King brought it up in the CTAS book. I think that the commissioner is the one who assigns office. I just think we need to take it to the property committee, let the property committee study it, look at it, decide, hey, if we move this office over here, they work daily with this office over here. So if you put one over this side of the road, it's going to cause traffic. Is there a way that you could put 3 offices in one building that works together and free up spots in the courthouse? There's a lot of questions, a lot of opinions, and everybody's entitled to their opinion. I just think we need to take it through the proper channels. If the court is the ones who decides, then we need to bring it for the property, give them time to study it, come up with recommendations, and then make a recommendation to the full commission. Whether it passes or not, it's up to the full commission. Somebody may have a better idea to bring forward the next time. But I just think we need to follow whatever steps that Steve Tash tells us to. Because I was, I guess, under impression, you know, we wouldn't the ones that done that. But if that's what it says in the book, I guess we gotta follow the book. Thank you.
Anyone else?
Madam Chair, I was under the assumption as well that the mayor had that discretion. And it seems to me like that's where it belongs. He works in it every day and knows the feel of what's going on and who's doing what. And, if we continue down the path of micromanaging as commissioners, what do we need a mayor for? Just my feelings of it. I know I don't have a say-so in that, but just something to think about.
Well, here's some information that might help you. The county commission, and this is on page 87 in the county government overview handbook that we say we're going to follow, under county buildings, hours, and office space. It says down at the bottom, the county commission has complete control over county building, office space, and has the authority to assign office space within the courthouse. And then it goes on to say there's some court cases, 1978, and then there's another one. County buildings are public property held by the county in trust for the public use and are under the jurisdiction of the county commission as a representative agency of the county at large. And then there's another case law for that. Okay, so I mean, it says we do that. Of course, it says we're going to do a lot of things we don't do, but there again, I go by what's in black and white. That's all I got.
Anyone else? Okay, since there are none, we're going to move on. 4 on the agenda. County Mayor, do you have anything to say?
I don't think so.
Okay. Mr. Melton.
The longest meeting we've ever had, I actually have something to say tonight. It's a good thing, and I'll let the commission know about the issue. And I've been working on your behalf and the mayor's behalf with this state office of unclaimed property. Y'all seen it on TV, and I'm sure you got the emails. And I've been able to locate near a little over $9,000 belongs to Benton County, and it's not much in a wad. It's a couple of $100 from the general session, and a couple of $100, I think, for the county clerk got a little bit. And when you add it all up with the animal shelter too, it comes up to like $9,000, and I think we're actually going to get that. It goes back to each department, though. It's not like it comes to the mayor and he divvies it out. It's everybody's got a part to play, and all the elected officials are working on that. So, yay us, y'all.
Thank
you. Anyone else? Thanks. Number 5 is the approval of the minutes. I need a motion and a second, please. Motion by Commissioner Bain and a second by Commissioner Arnold. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Okay. Minutes are approved. Number 6 is the report of the public utilities. I need a motion and a second. I have a motion by Commissioner Burke and a second by Commissioner King. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Finally, down to our resolutions. Resolution 1 is a resolution by Benton County Mayor Mark Ward to move funds in the amount of $1,853 within the Highway Department's budget to cover a shortfall in workman's compensation insurance. I have a motion by Commissioner Price and a second by Commissioner Melton. Any questions? There are none, so everyone please vote.
Anyone wish to change their vote? Motion carries, 13 yes.
Resolution 2 is a resolution by Director of Education Mark Florence to move funds in the amount of $6,003 within the school's budget. A motion by Commissioner Melton and a second by Commissioner Arnold. Any questions? There are none, so please vote.
Anyone wish to change their vote? Motion carries, 13 yes.
Number 9 on the agenda is a resolution by Mark Florence to move funds in the amount of $40,000 within the school's budget. Need a motion and a second. We have one by Commissioner Keene and a second by Commissioner Miller. Any questions? Okay, please vote if you're for or against.
You want me to change your vote? Motion carries 13 yes.
Number 10 is a resolution by Mark Florence to move funds in the amount of $3,749 within the school's budget. Have a motion by Commissioner Keene and a second by Commissioner Melton. Any questions? There are none. Please vote if you're for or against.
Anyone wish to change your vote? Motion carries 13 yes.
Number 11 is a resolution by Mark Florence to budget funds in the amount of $16,941 received from Tennessee Risk Management to the school's budget. I have a motion by Commissioner Price and a second by Commissioner Melton. Any questions? There are none. Please vote if you're for or against.
Anyone wish to change your vote? Motion carries 13 yes.
Number 12 is a resolution by Mark Florence to move funds in the amount of $1,000 within the school's budget. I have a motion by Commissioner Burke and a second by Commissioner Keene. Any questions? There are none, so please vote.
Anyone wish to change your vote? Motion carries 13 yes.
Number 15 is a resolution by Benton County Mayor Mark Ward to budget funds in the amount of $5,350 from the City of Camden to the library's budget. I have a motion by Commissioner Melton, a second by Commissioner Fowler. Any questions? There are none, so please vote.
Anyone wish to change your vote? Motion carries 13 yes.
Number 14 is a resolution by Mayor Mark Ward to budget funds in the amount of $1,600 collected from court fees to fund the purchase of a new laptop for the general session / circuit clerk as recommended by the Administrative Office of the Courts. I have a motion by Commissioner Fowler and a second by Commissioner Arnold. Any questions? There are none, so everyone please vote.
Anyone wish to change your vote? Motion carries 13 yes.
Number 15 is a resolution by Benton County Sheriff Ken Christopher to budget funds in the amount of $496.89 received from DTF to the sheriff's budget for expenditure. I have a motion by Commissioner Bain and a second by Commissioner Keene. Any questions? There are none, so please vote.
Anyone wish to change your vote? Motion carries 13 yes.
Number 16 is a resolution by Benton County Sheriff Ken Christopher to budget funds in the amount of $12,000 received from TLETA grant to the sheriff's budget for expenditure. We have a motion by Commissioner Melton and a second by Commissioner Fowler. Any questions? There are none, so please vote.
Anyone wish to change your vote? Motion carries 13 yes.
Number 17 is a resolution by Sheriff Ken Christopher to budget funds in the amount of $479 received from various sources in the month of February 2025 to the sheriff's budget for expenditure. I have a motion by Commissioner Price and a second by Commissioner Murphy. Any questions for the sheriff? Okay, there are none, so please vote.
Anyone wish to change your vote? Motion carries 13 yes.
Number 18 is a resolution by Benton County Sheriff Ken Christopher to appropriate and budget funds in the amount of $1,500 to the sheriff's budget for IT and computer services. We have a motion by Commissioner Price and a second by Commissioner Murphy. Any questions? There are none, so everyone please vote for or against.
You don't wish to change your vote? Motion carries.
Number 19 is a resolution by Sheriff Ken Christopher to appropriate funds in the amount of $4,000 from the general fund unassigned fund balance to appropriate expense account to cover repairs to the jail's backflow prevention device. I have a motion by Commissioner Price and a second by Commissioner Bain. Any questions? Okay, there are none. Everyone please vote.
Anyone wish to change your vote? Motion carries 13 yes.
Number 20 is a resolution by Mayor Mark Ward to seek approval and authority to enter into an agreement with Pitney Bowes Company for the lease and associated services of a postage machine in the mayor's office used by multiple county offices and to appropriate funds to cover the lease for the remainder of the fiscal year. I have a motion by Commissioner Melton and a second by Commissioner Murphy. Any questions for the mayor? Commissioner Fowler.
Does the post office, do they sometimes provide us one of those, or what was the old one? I knew you always had one in there, and said one in the mayor's office. Was
Yeah,
that
the post office don't provide it.
They don't?
You get a discount on your stamps if you buy this one or lease this machine.
Yeah.
You know, so it saves us a lot of money.
It saves a lot of money.
Every office in the county uses it, and we've been using this one. I can't remember the year we got it. But it's
Have they went up? Have they went up on us from what they used to charge us? Or is it
it's annotated, and the problems that we're having with it can't be fixed. You can't order parts for it. So they said the only option was to sign a new lease for a new piece of equipment, and we'll keep using this one until they get that installed, and then they'll take the old one out. It's just the way it's always been. I don't know if that's the best deal, but there's only one company that you can deal with on that.
Be a lot of sore tongues if you didn't.
Commissioner King.
Well, I think the mayor just answered my question, because it is $21,000 over 5 years, or paid through 5 years. It would require anything as far as, is there a state contract or anything out there that, or does it require a bid? You know, you said, and probably Pitney Bowes is probably the best out there, but I guess that's my question.
It's the only company that I know of that you can even get it from.
They are the only company that is licensed with the United States Postal Service to deal with farms.
Okay, that's all I need to know.
Okay, if there are no questions, others? Okay, everyone please vote.
Anyone wish to change their vote? Motion carries 13 yes.
Number 21 is a resolution by Mayor Mark Ward to appropriate and budget funds in the amount of $1,500 to cover an expenditure obligation to Guardian Advisors LLC for debt service fees. I have a motion by Commissioner Murphy and a second by Commissioner Burke. Any questions? There are none, so please vote.
Anyone wish to change their vote? Motion carries 13 yes.
Number 22 is a resolution by Mayor Mark Ward to appropriate and budget funds in the amount of $4,000 to cover an expenditure obligation to community development partners. I have a motion by Commissioner Melton and a second by Commissioner King. Any questions for the mayor? Okay, there are none, so please vote. Sorry.
Anyone wish to change their vote? Motion carries 13 yes.
Number 23 is a resolution by Mayor Markwart to budget funds in the amount of $5,482.95 received from court fees to a line item for expenditure to contribute to the newly established 24th Judicial District Recovery Court. I have a motion by Commissioner King and a second by Commissioner Fowler. Do we have any questions? Okay. We have an amendment for Resolution 17. I need a motion and a second to get this amendment approved.
Second.
Melton and King.
Can I speak on that? Can I speak on that? So we just used last year's figures when we wrote this resolution because we didn't have the numbers. We had to get the comptroller to help us come up with exactly how much had been put into that account. Come up to just a few dollars more, but that's why we had to change that number to 5510. This is the amount that we had been sending back to the state every year, but since we have a drug court in our district, it goes to the drug court now. So we have to have a resolution to send it to the drug court, but we didn't have to have one to send it to the states.
Okay, any questions about the amendment? There are none. Please vote if you're in favor of the amendment.
Anyone wish to change their vote? Amendment carries 14 yes.
Okay, now we will vote on the resolution as it was just amended. Okay, so everyone please vote yes or no.
Anyone wish to change their vote? Motion carries 13 yes.
Number 24 is appointing notaries. We have two notaries for tonight. We have Randy Shannon and Roseanne Ward. Need a motion. We have one by Debbie Bain and second by Commissioner Murphy. You don't get to vote. Okay. All in favor, vote yes or no. Did we do roll call on this? Okay. Voice vote. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? I pass. Okay. So the notaries are approved. We're down to number 25. Any other business?
Make a motion to suspend the rules and hear these other resolutions.
Okay. For resolutions 18, 19, and 20?
Yes.
Okay. We have a motion to suspend the rules to hear resolutions 18, 19, and 20. Need a second? Commissioner Bain? Okay. Yes, ready for a vote? If you're for the suspending the rules, please vote. Okay. Now, if you are for suspending the rules, please vote yes or no.
Anyone wish to change their vote? 11 yes, 2 no. Passes.
Okay, resolution 18 is a resolution by Mayor Markwart to appropriate and budget funds in the amount of $5,000 to the airport's budget to cover a shortfall in revenue taxes. I have a motion by Commissioner Melton, and a second by Commissioner Miller. Any questions? Mr. Fowler?
What is the taxes? I mean,
So we pay fuel tax, and because she's selling like 10 times more than we've ever sold in a month, we're paying more tax. And we didn't appropriate that in the budget this year because we didn't expect to have such a tax, or fuel sales.
I thought the purchaser paid the tax on the fuel.
No, the county has to pay the tax on the fuel.
The county.
But this is a good thing. If we didn't have more sales that we're making 80 cents a gallon on, we would be paying more tax. So she's bringing in lots more money for the county.
And Mr. Mayor, when you say we're making 80 cents a gallon, we're not really making 80 cents a gallon.
Well, that's what the markup is on it, Mr. King.
That is, but you take into account what we're paying for the fueler, the truck, the lease, and labor and all that. So we're not really making 80 cents a gallon.
Well, you
It
can
sounds
split hairs.
And I believe, you know, we might make a little bit, but I don't think we're making 80 cents a gallon.
Well, we're making about 10 or 15 times more than we were a year or two ago.
True, but, you know, I like to, you know, add that
I just
in there
like to see the county make money on an office instead of losing money on it.
Right.
And they're bringing it up to where we're almost to break even out there now, where in the past it's been a complete drain on the county.
I mean, breaking even, I like that better than saying we're making 80 cents a gallon, because really we're not. With the cost that it takes to maintain everything.
I agree with what you're saying, but we're making 80 cents a gallon.
True.
For fuel.
Without all
You
the
always
expenses.
have overhead in any business, and I consider that's what that is, since they're selling a product. I hadn't figured out what the overhead is to tell you exactly what the profit is, but it's a whole lot better than it has been.
So they're gonna charge us more on taxes. Well, just, have we been paying a certain amount?
Well, you pay a percentage of tax just like any tax. So the more you sell, the more tax there is.
So you budgeted for a certain amount,
We didn't,
right?
we budgeted for what the sales were the previous year. And now she's overcome that by a lot. So this is not the first time we've had to appropriate more tax even in this year. Because the sales just continue to grow.
Does this money go to the Department of Revenue? Any other questions? Okay, if there are none, if you're in favor or not, please vote.
Anyone wish to change your vote? Motion carries 13 yes.
Resolution 19 is a resolution by Mayor Mark Ward to appropriate and budget funds in the amount of $50,000 to the airport's budget to cover a shortfall in aviation fuel. I have a motion by Commissioner Miller and a second by Melton. Questions?
I would like to say before the question's asked, this is because we appropriate money for the fuel in the budget at budget time, but there's no reason to put $200,000 in that budget when we're gonna sell that fuel and it's gonna be turned into the general fund. This is just reappropriating the amount of money that we have already appropriated, and it's been turned back in, so it's the same money cycling back to put the fuel in the tanks to be sold.
Any?
Yeah, just one question. Y'all talked to Beverly about that and our money. Can we not come up with a plan that'll break down, instead of bringing it out of the unassigned fund balance and putting it back into the general fund? Can we not come up with something that would break that down?
No, you can do
So
that.
since there's so much going on there, to
Well,
show
there's
that
not
it's
a whole lot
making
going
money.
on. There's not a whole lot going on there, Dwayne.
I mean, no, it's fuel wise, just like you said.
Except for we're selling a whole lot more fuel.
Right.
But the only alternative, from what the comptrollers told me, and I asked the same question, I said, can't we have that to just automatically go into an expenditure account instead of a revenue? Unfortunately, when they turn the money in from the airport, it has to go into a revenue account.
Right.
You can't spend it from that. That's why we have to do a resolution to put it in there to an expenditure account. I asked them if there's no way we could set up a special fund where it would just go directly in there where they could just keep using it, but there's not. The only alternative they offered me was we put the full amount in there of what we think we need for the year, so we don't have to bring this resolution up a couple times a year. Well, in doing that, you're talking about $200,000. How much is that on property tax for the citizens? So instead of raising property tax 40 cents just for that money to be sitting there, it's a lot easier just to do a resolution 2 or 3 times a year and keep using that same money.
Well, does Rita keep a spreadsheet on how much the
She
fuel?
turns it in her minutes every month.
That's where that would come in handy, I guess, like,
Y'all
Terry
get
was
that.
talking about, yeah.
Y'all get that.
Anyone else?
Yeah, that was just my question. It was a few months ago we brought this up. We keep seeing all these expenditures, but we never see the deposit. If we could get the minutes from, the airport board meetings,
She's turning those
a balance sheet or something, yeah, but I like to see it in our packet where like this month we sold so many hundreds of gallons at this, much. This
I
is
was
what we
under the
made.
impression that y'all were getting those.
I've
got a few.
Aren't
I
we
haven't
getting-
had this month, so.
aren't
It
we
would
still-
just help for us as a body to see the deposits.
No, I
every
agree.
time, because we just keep spending it and we never see, well, where are the
I
receipts?
understand, and I agree
That's
with that.
all, I knew he was gonna ask the same thing.
But is, Charlie, are we not sending those out to the commissioners?
Anytime I get them, I send them out to the commissioners.
Okay. We'll make sure y'all get those.
It would just help for us to
Because
see
you
it.
do need to understand.
Because I
how-
know we're selling,
Yeah,
but all we see is the outflow.
yeah.
Nothing.
You do need to see what the income is every month.
Anyone else?
I just, I think the last time, that this came up, I had asked for how the, expense and we did get the, minutes in the email, but it didn't say on there anything about the cost of what I was asking was with the rent on the tank for $1,000 a month. How does that, how are we showing profit for the gas that we're selling? Because it's got, some of it's somehow or another, that rent on that tank has got to be paid for. And it's my fault, she invited me to come out there and I had a lot of things going on and I haven't been able to go out there and talk to her about it yet. But anytime you have an operation, you've got your expenses, you've got your, what you're making off of it. And what's going out, what's coming in, what's going out. And that's what I was questioning was with the sale of the fuel, and so they say we're making 80 cents a gallon off of it. What kind of a bite does that take in the profit of the 80 cents to pay the $1,000 for the tank that we're paying, that she's paying? That's what my question was, and then, like I said, it's my fault. I haven't had a chance to get out there and talk to her. She just called me a few days ago, and I've been busy, so I still don't have an answer to that question.
Anyone else? Okay, I see none, so everyone please vote for or against.
Motion carries.
Resolution 20 is a resolution by Mayor Mark Ward to appropriate budget funds in the amount of $3,000 to the airport's budget to cover rental of a needed fuel truck for the remainder of the fiscal year. I have a motion by Commissioner Melton and a second by Commissioner Miller. Questions? Commissioner Arnold?
Yes, my question is, we are selling a lot of fuel out there. The fuel truck is needed. I mean, anytime you lease something, I'd rather own it. What is the cost of us buying a fuel truck and put it on a plan and own our own truck to lease?
Hey, I can't answer that. We'd have to check into that because that fuel truck's pretty expensive and the equipment on it, you got the different nozzles for jets and one-point fueling and all that. That's something that we could find out, but also remember that they do all the service on those trucks and keep everything working. So you'd also want to know what it's going to cost you for upkeep on that truck. But I'd like for Miss Rita, if I can put her on the spot, I'd like for, if I could put her on the spot, just stand up and tell us what's the approximate gallons per month that you're selling now, so they'll know that this 1,000 gallons or this $1,000 per month, how much of that is the profit?
Okay, aviation fuel tax is 4.25%. Just to go over what we talked about in January, the increases have been, for instance, we sold 9,218 gallons fiscal year 22-23. So far this year, we've sold $32,340. So jet sales, out of that 32,340 gallons, that's just through February. Total jet sales are 19,470 gallons.
So you're saying we're selling 30,000 gallons a month,
No,
a year?
that's what we've sold so far this fiscal
So far
year.
this year. So they could figure the 32,000 gallons at the 80 cents and see how much the fuel truck was costing.
Correct.
Of the
Well,
profits.
19,470 gallons of that through February is the jet. People, pilots do not pull up to the fuel farm now that we have a truck.
Yeah.
For safety reasons, for quick turns, they just don't pull up to the fuel farm. It's much quicker, much
Safer.
cleaner, and safer to use the fuel trucks. Sure.
So then, I'm sorry. I just want to ask, what about the jet fueling systems like Carroll County has, that has over-the-wing systems? How much would one of those cost if we had that?
Well, the jet.
All they're working off the original pumps.
Uh-huh.
I mean, I've got a picture here.
Well, over the wing we have. So the fuel truck has dual overwing and one single point.
Have you ever seen these Jet A systems? I mean, I don't know how much they are.
We have a Jet A system out there, but we also have the truck. The truck has a single point fueler.
Well, this here has the over-the-wing fueling system now. I didn't know if we could get a grant or something and maybe look into getting an over.
We
so
could
we don't have to have a truck and an extra liability.
Right. We could have in years past, we could have looked at getting a grant, but TAC no longer funds revenue producing projects like fuel farms. The thing about the fuel truck is the added safety measure. Also, the system that if Carroll County has the same system that I'm familiar with, they have overwing is just a standard nozzle. It's not single point. So Carroll County does have a single point that attaches to their system, but our piping is a 2-inch piping where I believe Carroll County's is a 3-inch piping. So it's we pump much slower for overwing. The fuel truck has 2 overwing nozzles, so you can fuel both tanks at once, and it also has one single point nozzle. So the reason single point is critical, we got a number of calls for single point before I got the truck. That was one of the motivators to get the truck, is we were missing so many fuel cells. These jets have pressurized fuel tanks. They'd never pull their fuel caps off for that reason. So, aircraft were coming in with the assumption we had single point, and it's leaving, going to the next airport because they're not taking those caps off. So as I started looking into a fuel truck and seeing that it was something that was feasible to do, plus the added safety measure, like I said, every pilot pulls up to the fuel truck for the safety, ease, and cleanliness of it. It's much quicker fuel.
How many gallons does the truck hold?
2,200.
Capacity a lot more out
It makes our capacity a lot lower. I watch fuel prices very closely. We have a pump down level in our larger tanks. So if we see fuel is trajecting down, I'll pump off into the truck. That'll allow us to take on a full truckload to take advantage of that better pricing. Anyone else?
Yeah, I'm done. I got that.
Thank you, Rita.
Okay, thank you, Rita.
You're welcome.
Can I say something? Can I say something?
Yes, you may.
Myself, Sheriff, Chief Clark are working on, we've seen this problem during the other meetings last week. We've been looking for a transfer truck for y'all from Lisa. We can get our hands on it, it will cost the county nothing. But so far, we haven't found one. We might not ever find one, but if we do, we're gonna look into it.
And that would be great. Do you all have the specs that we need for like the coalescers and the filtration system that we would have to have with the DP pressure gauge? And well, maybe we need to get together because We wouldn't, it's much different, like if you're using it to refuel military vehicles, obviously, it's gonna be much different than what I have to have. I have to have coalescers, water separators,
Well, we can
DP
ask
pressure
that-
gauge.
We can ask that when we get
Yeah.
the final.
Yeah.
And we'll see.
That'd be great.
I just wanted y'all to know that we are working on it.
Good.
Final, we'll get together.
Absolutely, I'd love to do that. Thank you.
So now, back to resolution 20. If you're in favor or not, please vote.
Motion carried, 13.
Okay, we're still in any other business. I think Commissioner Murphy has something he would like to share with us tonight.
Charlie Curtis, our representative for the Tennessee County Commissioners Association, called Commissioner Price and myself this afternoon. We're a part, along with Roseanne, I think Keith, on the Governmental Affairs Committee. There is a bill that we went to Lebanon and heard all the bills that affect local government, and we either expressed our opinion to strongly oppose, strongly support, oppose, back and forth. Essentially, Charlie acts as our lobbyist on the Hill for things that affect commission business. There's a bill that's going to be voted on in the Education Committee tomorrow called House Bill 224. It's Senate Bill 593. This is a bill that is the School District's Capital Improvement Investment Trust Act. Basically, it amends Tennessee Code Annotated Title 49. These points I'm going to give you, I have not had a chance to read the bill and educate myself backwards and forwards on it, but Charlie Curtis wants you to know that this is not a good bill for county commissions and not a good bill for county commissions and local, our school board to work together on. Basically what this means is that the school board can take a portion of their fund balance and put in a irrevocable trust, and then it would be invested, I would assume, with other education board money, and then the interest could be used for capital projects and things like that. But Charlie's concern is that it circumvents the commission's ability to appropriate money when needed. So the school board would essentially spend money, not saying our school board would do that, but you would give them the option to do that. And then it would probably be pretty tough on our budget process, trying to figure out where we're going to get funds to fund other things for the school board. And finally, Charlie feels like it would create a pretty good wedge between the commission and the school board, as we would be wrestling over who's in charge of appropriating that money. What we do right now, he feels like works. I feel like it works. I feel like the school board probably thinks it works. So Charlie's asking that as a commissioner in the morning, before noon in the morning, you would call our representative, Jay Reedy, and express your concerns or not concerns about this particular bill. So with that, if there's any questions, I'll try to answer them. But that was Charlie Curtis wanted to ask you as commissioner if you would call and express to him that you didn't think it was a good bill. Yes, if you want Representative Reedy's number, it's 615-741-7098.
And what was that?
You don't need a cell phone? No, we're not that close. Oh, do I want it? No. Oh, if you got it, call him. I'm sorry.
Suppose that again, it's Title 49.
Call his office. Yeah, 741-7098, area code 615. I think Miss Jennifer is his assistant there, and she'll get a message to him. Anyway, that is all I have on that.
What's that
House Bill 224.
We voted to oppose that.
We voted to strongly oppose it, but it has advanced and,
Send them a letter or anything.
it'll be too late. They're gonna vote on this.
Well, no, we're talking about when we went to the governmental affairs, meeting as a group of all commissioners from across the state, we voted to oppose that bill that he's talking about.
The education committee at, noon tomorrow, so you've got all morning there. So with that, Madam Chairman, the hour's late, the bladder's full. I move.
Point of information.
Yeah.
Okay.
I meant to say this earlier. I talked to Angie Hearn, who was our representative of the water district at the north of the Decatur County Water District. And, you know, they got some grant money, I think, from us that they would want to extend the water line around Westport Road. I know there's been some controversy about the line wouldn't go where everybody thought it was going to go. They finally got some final numbers in today. The line is going to go an additional 5,000 feet down Westport Road past Thornton Road.
Good.
Now, it probably ain't gonna please everybody, because it's gonna stop a little short before somebody wanted it, but it'll be a lot closer than it would. So, she wanted me to.
Keith, I was at that meeting, it's been 2 months ago, when Angie was explaining to the people that was concerned it wasn't going far enough up Westport Road. So this moves them 5,000 feet closer, so that they told them that if they want to pay to hook onto it and set on a meter there, then they will do that. So it should appease most of them.
Like I said, it's gonna go up. It's not, she just called me today, just before I come in here. I meant to tell y'all earlier, but, it's a good thing that it's gonna go further down Westport Road, since they got all the numbers in on the page.
Good deal.
Now, Mr. Murphy.
Anyone else? Anybody in the back have anything to say? Okay, I move that, I need a motion to adjourn. Who is it? Okay, all in favor say aye. Anyone opposed? Okay, we are adjourned.